Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Machin Leira Online Smicha. The Kotzker Rebbe once defined what is a ish emes, a honest, true person. So the Kotzker Rebbe said, a person who relates and says a story as it is, that's not a ish emes. He's just not lying. He's somebody who's just reporting and is not lying. When is a person considered a ish emes? Is one only who digs deeper and sees a story and knows what the truth about the story is, and he tells you the insights, what it meant. That is a true ish emes. Why am I saying this? Because there's so much going on in the Parshias where the Parshias teach us that there is a story, but then there is a deeper part to the story, and that's the really truth. And the mashal you could give is two people sitting and chatting and talking to each other, and a passerby walks by, and the guy is sort of dressed a little strange. And after he leaves, the two friends talk to each other, and one says to the other, "Did you see the guy's shoes? He has weird looking shoes." And the other guy responds, "Did you see his hat? His hat was a yellow hat, a funny looking hat." Why is this one reporting what he saw, the hat, and this one is focused on the shoes? This person must be a shoemaker, so his whole focus, his whole life is shoes, so he looks at the shoes. This one is a little more edel. He's more focused at what's on his head, the hat. There is a story that somebody once came to the Griz from Brisk, and he says, Chazal tell us that tcheles, the color of tcheles, is doime layam, is compared to the sea, the color of the sea, and the yam is compared to the rakia, to the sky, and the sky is compared to the kisei HaKavod. So when you look at the tcheles, when you look at the tzitzis, then you backtrack all the way till the kisei HaKavod. So he says to the Griz, I'll tell you the truth. I look at a tcheles, and never when I look at a tcheles, I think about the rakia. The dots don't connect. So the Griz says to him, let me ask you a halacha. The halacha states that a man is not allowed to look at colored clothing, a woman's colored clothing. He says, why? Because when you start seeing the women's colored clothing, you start thinking about women and so on. So he says, do you understand that halacha? He says, sure. I'm a Chassidish guy. When I look at a woman's clothing, and who knows, my mind starts wandering. She says, I don't get that. Why by the clothing, when you see a dress hanging, somehow it trickles down and you start thinking about women? And over here, when you're looking at tcheles, you don't see from the tcheles the connection to the rakia. And the answer is because that's how you're wired. You're wired that women are on your mind, so when you see something that resembles or something that can remind you of them, it's going to trigger it. Where rakia is something heavenly, far-fetched from you, you need much more than a reminder than to look at tcheles. There's a story from the Halakha of Aaron Mibels that at the day of his chasana, he got notice that the governor or the head of the cities wants to come with his wife to a goy and his wife, the mayor, the governor of the town, wants to come wish the chassan, the halakha of Aaron from Belz, Mazel Tov. And he got all worried because he didn't want to shake their hands at the day of his chasna. So his father saw, Rabbi Sachadai from Belz saw that he was all shaken up. He says, what is it? He says, I don't want to deal with these people. I'm worried what I'm going to touch, what I'm going to see. So Rabbi Sachadai says a very, very fascinating thing. He says in the Parsha, the Parsha Tzitzis, it says, "V'loisasuru achrei levavchem v'achrei einechem," and you should not wonder. Your mind should not follow your heart's desires and after your eyes, what you see. So Rabbi Yisachar Dov from Belz asks, isn't it the other way around? First you see, and then your heart desires. It should say "V'loisasuru achrei einechem," and then achrei levavchem. And the answer is no. A person sees what he wants to see. The heart works first. What you have a lust for, what you have a desire for, that's what you manage to see. That's what your focus is in. Sometimes you could see things and not even notice it if you're not interested in it. The things that you are interested in, that's what you see. And that's why he says, don't worry, they're gonna pass by and tell you Mazdav. If you have no interest in them, it will not affect you in whatsoever way. Why am I saying this? Because in the Parsha, in Parshas Chukas, we find that at the end of the story, at the end of the Parsha, where it talks about the plague that happened, that they had in the Chashim, the snakes come and bite them, and it was a terrible plague. So it's interesting to note that when we davened to save them, the Eibusha says, okay, put a snake on and the Chash and the Choshes he made, and that Nachash and the Choshes, and anybody who looks up there, even after, it doesn't say the snake stopped biting. If a snake bites you, you look up there, you'll be healed. So the Rebbe points out, isn't it funny? The snake is what's biting, and the snake, looking at the snake, is actually the one that's causing the refuah. Shouldn't the refuah come from somewhere else? The snake is what's biting, it's causing Rahman al-Islam the death. Elamai, says the Rebbe, when you reach the level of tshuva, you turned it around, and now the snake, which is really a symbol of death, and that's what it says by Chava, that when she got seduced from the snake, that's what brought Misa in the Elam. But when you turn it around and you dig deeper, then even, and the B'koyach HaTshuva, the snake itself could become something that will lift you up and actually save you. As the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, Daf Chavtes, the Gemara says, you think the snake is what's healing you, or the snake what's killing you? The famous Mishnah, the Gemara says, to tell you, when the Yidden look up, and they look at the snake, but they look deeper. They look deeper. What's bringing the snake? And they're mistaken klapi ma'ila, and they realize there's a Rebbeinu Shalom. That's when you misrap him. That's when you will be healed. So the same thing could heal you when you know where it comes from and you know what to connect to. Now this is a general discussion, but it could also be. You could also explain another point. There's a pasuk in Tehillim. The pasuk says, "Leisira mipachad leila." Don't be afraid of night. Don't be afraid of night. There's nothing to be afraid of. So somebody once asked, I don't get it. The same Eibishter that created us, created fear, created night. And he created fear for a reason. There must be a purpose of this fear. So what are you saying? If there was no purpose in the fear, the Eibishter wouldn't create it. So the answer is, yes, there's a pasuk in Kehelis that says, Hashem wants you to fear him. Hashem wants fear. But Hashem doesn't want the fear of Pachad Loila. Hashem created fear that it should be Yiras Hashem, and not Yira of all these mundane, stupid things. So you have to always see, you're going to see things, but whatever is important to you, and whatever you live with, that is what you notice. And hopefully you're going to notice the Kedusha and the Tyra parts.